The new decentralized globe. Blockchain has taken the world by storm, changing the traditional business values of the past, igniting an era of decentralization. Mike Butcher, TechCrunch. Mark Berniger, Crypto Finance.
Don't need it. You got that? Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, how do you do? How are you? Have you having a good time in Malta? My name is Mike Butcher. I'm a journalist and editor of TechCrunch, which has 17 million readers around the world, based out of San Francisco, with kind of a strange setup here, so some of you over here. And next to me is Mark Berniger, who's a hero of Web 2.0. Who remembers Web 2.0? Mark, you really were. You did a fantastic project called, company called Amiando, which was the Eventbrite of its era. That was Web 2.0. What is Web 3?
Yeah, I think, welcome everybody. I flew in directly from Crypto Nation, Switzerland, and I'm the first time on blockchain island Malta, so really exciting to be here. And as Mike just mentioned, I think in the Web 2.0 area, it was all about democratization, information, the digital revolution, which affected mainly information technology. And I think now with the Web 3.0, it's really going into the real world. Technology is now really changing not just information, it's really changing the real world.
The original vision for the internet, obviously, was created by DARPA, by the American government. And that was, effectively to withstand a nuclear war. When Tim Berners-Lee invented the web, that was meant to be decentralized. It was meant to be a world where anyone in the world could run their own website, their own web server. It was effectively going to democratize the world. What happened after that? Why did we end up with the so-called GAFA, Google, Apple, Facebook, Amazon?
Yeah, I think it's an interesting fact. And I mean, when we had a chat yesterday evening, honestly, I was also not really aware about the fact that originally the main idea of the internet as we use it today was really to have a decentralized, immune, without middlemen in between system. And what we have right now is, I would say, mostly the opposite. And now I hope the ultimate challenge and the ultimate hope in this new blockchain-based economy is that we will go back to the roots, back to the early days of the internet, where it was about decentralizing the whole existing system.
So what are we getting underneath it? What do we actually mean by decentralization? What is the fundamental shift going on here?
I think the biggest differentiator is that it's just taking away power from a few very powerful, very selected parties, and it gives it back. It sounds always a little bit silly, back to the masses. But I think that's ultimately what decentralization means. You really can be part of a system without being big, old, based in certain countries, and I think that's a huge game changer. And as you just mentioned, that was the original idea of the internet.
You're obviously exited from Amiando, you set up Berniger Ventures, you've become a serial investor, and you were a very early player in the crypto world, setting up a number of conferences in Switzerland. And it's ironic in a way, isn't it, that Switzerland is very decentralized itself with its system of cantons. Why did Zug, for instance, become such a big issue in the blockchain and crypto world? And of course, now this is happening in Malta. What's it particular about these jurisdictions that shifts people here?
I think one of the reasons is literally you had Vitalik Buterin and all the early Ethereum guys and also some of the core developers of Bitcoin were just living in Zug. I mean, you met them in Starbucks and it was not a big thing. So that was like in the early days. I joined in 2012 when I got my first Bitcoin, and it was really a world full of geeks, full of passionate people. There were no speculators. It was really just a tech-driven community. And as you just mentioned, I think Switzerland, as a quite decentralized, very federalistic country, we have some kind of blockchain-based mindset in our blood, I think. And it's great to see that this whole movement is now spreading all over the world.
Zurich and Zug was an early player. You had Vitalik Buterin creating Ethereum out of Zug there. And now the world it's actually moving around the world. It's huge, obviously, in Asia as well. You're an investor. What are the things that you're looking for as investing in projects, investing in do you invest in new types of protocols, or do you invest in sort of more real-world applications?
I mean, at Crypto Finance Group, we are more into the asset management space, so we don't do underlying venture investments. But personally, I think, and I always say the same, for me, the game doesn't change just because the technology changes. It's all about supporting passionate entrepreneurs with the vision to change something in a big scale. And it doesn't matter if it's blockchain-based, if it's tech-based, or is it something in the food space. It's all about people behind, passionate people, really with a drive and an entrepreneurial mindset to really change something to the good.
What are the main problems do you see that the industry faces in the next couple of years?
I mean, we are already in a different time at the moment. I mean, I remember we were already on stage in, let's say, different phases, and it was all about Bitcoin to 200,000 and whatever. I think that's absolutely irrelevant, because also the price of the Nasdaq back then was not really an indication about what really changed during these times. And that's why I don't care about, I mean, I care about the price of all these coins, but it's not about the price of all these coins, it's about the underlying technology. And I think at the moment we are in an after-hype cycle, but behind the scenes, I think we see some of the most exciting things happening without being reflected in the price of a shit coin, because it doesn't matter. But I think we're really in a very exciting time at the moment.
So you don't think that crypto prices affect the actual technology development?
I mean, it helps certain projects to create and especially execute their big vision. But ultimately, I mean, I think it's good that you now kick out most of the purely speculative-driven players, because they're not in for the technology and for the big picture. They're just purely speculating. And I think that normally is not the foundation of a long-term sustainable development.
So do you feel, therefore, that next year will be, shall we say, get real time?
I think, I mean, we also chatted about it yesterday. I mean, honestly, as long as we talk about technology and some tiny nitty-gritty stuff around, that's good for the inner circle, but the end consumer, they want to have real use cases, and real use cases mean it's better, cheaper, nicer, better looking, more efficient than something which is existing right now. Nobody cares about the TPC protocol, right? Everybody of us uses it all the time, but nobody really cares about it, and I think we're in a similar stage at the moment in the whole blockchain space. I think as soon as we read front page relevant stuff where you don't read about blockchain anymore, but about the services which are used, then we reach the tipping point, and that will take some more time.
Finally, we're running out of time, but I love to play this game with people because I was covering the internet in the 90s. What year are we in now? Are we in 1993, 94, 95, 96, 2004? What do you think?
Yeah, I would say, and again, don't look at the price of Bitcoin, it's just part of the whole story. I think we're around 1998.
1998.
To get a concrete number.
Right, hands up who thinks we're in 1998?
Nobody.
One person? Okay. Who thinks we're in 2000? Just before the crash? One person. Not very...
Yeah,
I think they're a bit
audience.
Shy, aren't they?
Audience.
They're a bit shy. Well, Mark, what are you going to be doing here?
What's your view, by the way?
I think we're in 96.
Okay, perhaps everybody else is also in 96. Who's
Exactly,
in 96?
maybe they are. What are you going to be doing
worse.
for the rest of the conference?
Yeah, I wanted to explore also a little bit Malta, so I think there are also other things than just hanging around here. But also, if you have anything interesting, please approach me, and I'm around till tomorrow. Yeah, looking forward.
Well, and I'm from TechCrunch. I'm covering startups and investors in the space. Otherwise, have a great day, everybody. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Excellent.